values that are directly in line with the values shared by the great people of Dane County. Between my experience in the courtroom and my conservative values as a Republican, a vote for me is a vote for change in the right direction. I ask for your vote on November 6th and will always keep in mind that the court is the people's, not mine.
Paid for by the committee to elect Nathan T. Kelsaw, Michelle Kelsaw, Treasurer. At the KSMO studios here at 1340, it's time for us to sit down with our friends at the Conservation Department and Forest Service. Got Thom Haines here and Big Jason sitting here. How's that vest feel? It looks a little bit, yeah, I was going to say, it looks a little uncomfortable today. Is it got a little extra underneath because it's cool outside?
Well, yeah, it's got the extra armor plate in the front, so it looks a little
Deer
bulkier.
season, huh? You got to watch out.
Yeah.
It just looks bigger. Is this a new one?
No, it's just a different shirt.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's a little different.
Doesn't he look huge?
No, it looks normal.
Oh.
Every time I see our law enforcement officers, that's part of their uniform.
Oh, I know.
They don't have a choice in the matter,
I'm just saying, he kind of looks like a superhero with this bowl right here and then the arm. And I think that's pretty cool. Superhero, Jason.
Well, for some folks he is.
Well, I'm sure.
You know how many times I call him?
Well, no, I wouldn't know that.
I call
27 times a day.
Not that much, but
Okay.
at least 3 or 4 times a month I call him.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Then why didn't you leave it up to me to determine how many times you called them? 3 or
I'm
4
sorry.
times a month. I thought you'd be like 5 times a day.
Oh, no. We get customers all the time that have questions, and that's our...
Injured wildlife shows up at your office.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, there. Well, it happens. Well, guys, glad to have you with us here at KSMO Radio. Well, obviously, it's November. This is a big time for deer season, and I know that Jason's got some numbers from the youth hunt here that just happened. I'm sure he's got some bow totals as well, up to date, or as close as you can get up to date. I mean, they don't really do them up to the very moment, but you can get it within the last week or so. And obviously, we had a turkey season here not too long ago. Kind of ended yesterday.
Yeah, and they haven't sent our totals out yet.
So I was going to say, because I hadn't seen anything yet on that, so I didn't know if you had totals on or not, because I know I didn't have totals on.
No, they've got that harvest map now that you can hover over your county, and then it'll give you the estimated totals. I mean, they have a disclaimer on there that all those aren't verified, and because of duplicate checks and different things and corrections made, so it'll take them a little bit to get all that sorted out.
Okay. So I want to ask you, in your opinion, how did the archery season go for deer so far? How do you think it's gone?
I looked at the totals, and statewide, I think it's going pretty well. There's I can't remember the exact number. I think it's over.
I need these totals will be as of last Sunday or so, because they usually update them every Monday.
And I don't know if the deer harvest map was including like youth in that number for the total for the 2018 season. So there was up around 40,000 some deer taken.
Usually they
statewide.
keep them separate. You can go to different maps for each one.
And I got the youth results in a different spot.
Okay,
so
we'll do that. All right. So how about the turkey? I mean, in your opinion, how about the turkey season?
Probably down a little.
Okay.
Just because of our hatch statewide, turkey numbers in certain areas were down. Like in Ozark region, we had terrible production in our turkey numbers in the last couple of years. It's been really low.
But I see more turkeys now than I ever did before.
I mean, it just depends on where you are, which
Sure.
county, and then the recruitment and the hen to poult ratio and everything. So, but it was probably a little bit down just because of the fact that people weren't getting out there. It was really warm in October,
and late in October got really windy.
Yeah, and got windy, so fall season's not as popular as the spring season, obviously.
Very good.
So
Very good.
it'll be significantly lower than our spring totals. But
Right. Well, anyway, so all right. Well, that's right out of the horse's mouth. So anyway, but we don't have those totals yet.
No.
When we get them in, and I'm sure we'll get them in probably by the weekend or something.
They
Yeah,
hadn't
they haven't got them in yet. So we'll take a look at that, or possibly by Monday. I know by Monday.
And I
they'll
didn't
have all
have
the
any
totals.
reports. I haven't gotten any reports of any hunting incidents or accidents.
Which is always good.
Which is very good.
Very good. So let's talk a little bit about the youth season. That was last weekend. And overall, I know the statewide total numbers were down.
Yeah. Last year they killed 17,412. And then this year we were looking at around 13,560 deer. statewide. And then our top counties, which one of them's in Ozark region, Howe County had 350 to lead the totals. And then Osage, which is closer to Jefferson City, 316. And then Franklin, which seems to be always kind of up there with deer and turkey numbers, but 263.
It seemed the weather was fairly conducive, though, to good
Yeah,
deer
except
hunting.
for
But
Sunday evening, or that Sunday,
Right.
it was windy Sunday, and especially in that afternoon, it didn't calm down till right before dark, and so I think with the acorn crop and then just the weather, the deer weren't as active on that second day, so.
yeah, it looked like Saturday. I saw a lot of people talking about the deer. Some
Yeah.
of the kids got out there, got their deer right off the bat early in the morning. So
I saw a few coming through town.
yeah, so
and,
yeah, it looked like I
totals-
thought we'd have another big harvest.
Yeah, but we were, I mean, almost roughly 4,000 down from last year. But
Yeah.
I think it's just the mass production, the acorn. Acorn crop always keeps them in the woods, and they're harder to see. They're not out in the fields as visible as much. So, and then a lot of people who put food plots in probably won't see them using those until the late season.
Do you think the chronic wasting disease is scaring some people from going after deer?
I don't know. They've been having some meetings, discussing future regulations on that. I know there's several people concerned. I get questions, often about the disease, and then they've come out with a flyer here on talking about ways to help control the spread, and then talking about carcasses and disposing carcasses and how, transporting carcasses across the landscape. They recommend that you just, leave the carcass in the general area where you have harvested the deer, and then, or take it to a processor where they dispose of it in a certified landfill. And then they're talking about not allowing importation of any carcasses from any CWD positive states.
Right.
So it's, there's several things in the works and possible regulation proposals to help combat the spread of it. But
Right. It seems like more and more of our counties, I know they found one in Oregon County.
Yeah,
now, but
that
of
was
course
just
there's been
last week.
plenty in Arkansas. We know that. So Oregon County right there, that doesn't really shock me.
right,
They have a
I
deer,
think
but
the
you know, we
closest
got
one was
them.
70 miles away in Arkansas.
Right. So I mean,
that they know of.
we got Crawford County that's also they're doing the testing there.
Right.
And so
And they've
so
had,
that
I
so
think,
that
two positives there.
yeah. So it's close.
If you look at that map in our regulation pamphlet, it's just kind of starting to, circle the southern border with all the monitoring areas, and then like up at toward Osceola and those counties, St. Clair County. There's a monitoring area up there, and then the original CWD management zone, which was Macon, Adair, and those counties in the north, kind of northeast, north central part of the state. And then now we have the Franklin and Jefferson County area. So it's, slowly spreading across the state each year.
Right.
We're seeing more and more counties wind up in the CWD monitoring. So, and then with this one last week in Oregon County, it was a doe. Landowner found it on the property and it looked sick, so they had it tested, and it was a confirmed CWD case. So, and that brings, I think, our total since 2012 we've had 76 in free-ranging deer. So, and then the original in 2011 I think was from captive herd.
Yeah.
And so, and then they started finding the free-ranging deer around that captive herd with the
We get
test
it.
positive.
Yeah.
So it's just a strange disease. It's a prion disease. It's not like, we'll have hemorrhagic that'll run through the herd, usually on a drought year where we have water levels that are starting to get low, and then there's kind of a mud bank around the pond, and the midge fly that carries the virus will bite the deer. The deer are congregating around those watering holes, and then but the difference between CWD and the hemorrhagic is that CWD is always fatal, and some deer may survive hemorrhagic and then build up an immunity to it. So, and the symptoms are kind of similar, but the hemorrhagic, you'll usually almost always find the deer dead in the pond or right around the pond, water body, river, pond, lake, because they're hemorrhaging inside. They're losing blood, and they're running a fever, and so they're trying to get to water to cool down. CWD, you may just, find them out on the landscape, and they may not have succumbed to the disease, and that's what's, kind of interesting, I guess, about the disease. They can carry it for several years without showing any symptoms, and then be able to spread it through saliva, urine, feces, and just contact with other deer. So they're looking at ways to keep deer dispersed along the habitat, and we're getting the population here in Dane County is probably at a historical high.
No, it's unbelievable.
Especially last year when you could see them out in the fields, and there was no browse. There was no acorn crops, so they were all in the fields,
Everywhere.
getting along the roadways, and we get several complaints about deer car collisions, and then just the number of deer affecting crops and hay crops and gardens and pumpkin patches and things like that. So I just recommend people allow hunting during the seasons to help control those numbers, and then if it continues to be a problem, we have what we call a nuisance permit that we can issue, a deer damage control permit, but you have to meet special qualifications to be able to do that, and then there's certain guidelines that we have to go by.
Sure.
And allow who we allow to shoot, and then where the deer are taken.
Right.
So,
And occasionally they have a special managed hunt, like they have at Montauk
Right,
before, to
yeah.
thin them out when they get too thick and
yeah,
stuff.
for our public areas.
Tom, you have a question, sir?
Yeah, Jason, so is there a recommendation for the people who use salt licks for deer?
Well, in those CWD management zones, they've actually tried to ban salt licks or even feeding stations, because some people would feed deer. The loophole is if it's within 100 feet of a residence where deer are coming into a bird feeder or something, we're not going to enforce that. But yeah, in those counties that have a confirmation positive, confirmed positive, or they're in the monitoring zone, they've banned any feeding or any salt licks, just to keep the concentration of deer from concentrating.
Swapping saliva.
Yeah, they're swapping saliva, and then their feces is all over the place in those areas. So that's the young bucks are more likely to spread the disease because they're out looking for mates. They're looking for new territory. They get kicked out of their territory where the doe has raised them. They'll run them off, and then they'll be going several miles and looking for new territory, home ranges. And then, of course, when the rut kicks in, they're chasing does, and their territory is much
Gets
bigger
larger quickly
than the does. So
yeah.
That's that's all concern habitat management, and then it's a prion disease, so there's it was found in the 60s in Colorado at in a captive research facility, I think, in mule deer, I believe, and then Colorado confirmed it in the 80s in the wild herd, and then it's spread to, I think, 22 states. So.
It just keeps going.
And Wisconsin's a big one. I think Illinois and are our neighbors that have it. I think maybe even Nebraska. But there's you can get on our website and look at all our CWD information, and then they've got a couple other references through. I don't know if it's like, but it's like national database.
Right.
Keeps track of which counties are positive throughout the United States. Yeah. I think I talked last time, there was a publication that came out, showed the Wisconsin deer season, I think it was last year. Those positive counties where Wisconsin has positives, I think deer went to all 50 states. Hunters came in, right, harvested deer, and then the zip codes were from all 50 states. So the mobility of our society, it's a lot easier now to spread it. If precautions aren't taken, we recommend people bone out the meat and not cut through the bone or cut through lymph nodes and things like that. But we do offer testing at all our regional offices.
Well, that was my next thing. I was just going to say, now there is testing.
There's
available.
mandatory testing the first weekend at the locations.
But if somebody would get a deer 8 days into the season, they
Yeah,
would
they
like to
can-
get it tested, they can get that done.
They can take it to one of our regional offices, and then there's just a form you fill out, and they'll take the sample. They're recommending leave 6 inches of the neck to where they can get to that lymph node, and then be able to get a good sample, and then they'll give you a reference number, and then I forget how long. I mean, it's only a few weeks, I think, to get your results back. But they'll give you the time frame, and then you can get on our website and type in that reference number, and then find out your results.
Tom has a lot of questions today. So, Tom,
So is there a
yes,
health,
Tommy, you have a question?
is there a health issue with consuming that meat?
No, not at this time, but the CDC, I think they recommend that you don't, just because there's not been a confirmed case. The human-related disease would be like Creutzfeldt-Jakob's disease, or it's a prion disease similar to mad cow disease, but right now there's no known transmission between the deer to humans, so thank goodness,
Right.
but I think that's a lot of people's concern is, trying to just take precautions to avoid consuming positive.
Right. Because I know the share of the harvest will not accept
Right.
CDW.
And then, now in Oregon County, they're not gonna, do, I guess, share of the harvest this year with the processors. They've changed it up to where they're gonna make sure everything's tested, and then.
If you still want to do share of the harvest, you can.
Yeah.
But they
yeah.
will test the animal.
Yeah, it will be
Because if
tested.
it comes up with the chronic waste disease, they're not
Yeah, it
going
will
to
not
subject
go
that.
into
They
that.
will destroy the animal.
Yeah. No. So they just came out with a little trifle information pamphlet for
Call that
department
little?
employees.
It
Yeah.
sounds like 11 by 17.
But they just have different things. They recommend things to do after the harvest, wearing protective gloves. I'd do that with any wildlife that, tularemia from rabbits, I've heard people getting sick from having scratches or cuts on their hands, and then cleaning rabbits, that can get you sick. So
I thought
anytime
rabbit's feet were lucky.
but anytime you're field dressing or cleaning animals, I'd always recommend wearing gloves, because you never know what little cuts you have on your hands.
Right.
And then just just reduces your risk. And then just minimize how much you handle the organs, the brainstem, the spine, all that. It recommends deboning or removing the meat. Don't cut through the brain or the spinal cord. Don't use your household or kitchen utensils that you use every day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that prion, it can be subjected to really high temperature and survive. They've found. So, like everybody thought, well, maybe we could do prescribed burning, and the temperature's got to reach crazy, like up over 1,000 degrees. So I mean, I think to kill it, so it's pretty prolific, and then it's just it's kind of mysterious of how it gets transmitted, and I mean it can stay in the soil or in the habitat for long periods of time.
Yeah.
So
It's mysterious how it ever got started.
right, and then they
Somebody
don't,
had to have it.
they don't know exactly, how long it's been in the environment, but yeah, they just look at ways to slow down the spread, and then those areas that have had it, we've done some culling efforts to reduce the population right there at ground zero, where we know the exact location on the landscape where
that was found.
that positive was found. So, but then they're recommending, you can have just dispose of it in a properly licensed landfill or with a disposal company. Not to bring, not to be transporting whole carcasses across the landscape, and then, bury it right there on the property where you harvested is recommended, where animals and scavengers won't spread it as well. So,
because you can't stop them from pulling it apart
Right.
and taking it wherever it wants to go.
yeah, and then other ways they want people to report any deer that look sick. We've gotten reports. We've had a few deer tested here in Dent County, and we've never come back with a positive. We usually get reports, late in the summer, early in the fall. It's usually the hemorrhagic that we've found so far. People, you'll ask them or go out and look, and it'll be found in a pond, and that's telltale sign of hemorrhagic. And there's other things that kind of make deer lethargic and lose their fear, like brain worm and different things. Sometimes the hemorrhagic, they'll be suffering where they've lost fear of humans. People can walk right up to them, and they're just not cognitive anymore.
Right.
So, but some of those signs are similar to CWD as well. But if you see free-ranging deer with ear tags, those are likely escaped captives. From a confined wildlife facility, they're supposed to be licensed, but we know that people take deer out of the wild and try to raise them as fawns and put ear tags in them as well. So, but and then limit your carcass movement, then proper disposal, like I already said, and then like I said, you can have it tested for the disease at any of our regional offices.
Yeah, we don't want to take the enjoyment out of the deer hunting, but you got to be careful.
Yeah, and it's just we've had it since 2011, and our deer herd's still healthy. What I say, we had 76 confirmed positives. So we're just taking precautionary measures right now and just trying to see if we can slow the spread. And like some states, like Wisconsin, have had it for several years, and where they have it, the population dramatically is reduced in those counties where the disease is prolific.
I guess it'd be virtually hard to eliminate it, but if you can,
right, yeah, you can maybe help slow the spread.
It down, slow it down.
And then hopefully one of these days they'll figure out a way to maybe have a cure.
Yeah, treat it. I don't know. That's interesting though.
So
anyway, but if you are deer hunting and you want to get your carcass tested, you can do that. You can get that deer tested
off of it,
right? And you can contact you guys to find out how to do it. But
depending on which county you harvested in or where you live. The Ozark Regional Office is in West Plains, and then there's I guess Columbia would be another one, and Springfield or Cape Girardeau,
right.
And then some of those sampling stations, Franklin or Crawford. If you're hunting over in Crawford County, you're going to go to the first weekend. You're going to have a mandatory testing site. So.
Sure.
And then a lot of the taxidermists are participating in
and that helps too.
Volunteering to send in samples as well. So.
All right, so we know regular firearm deer season is going to be here before you know it. I think what's the
10th.
The 10th. Okay,
Yep.
I knew it was the 9th or 10th. Couldn't remember what day it was.
Well,
I lose track of these weekend days anymore.
It'll run from the 10th through the 20th.
10th to the 20th.
Yep.
And do remember, obviously look out for the other people. Wear that hunter orange, guys.
Cap and
There
vest.
got a lot of people going to be out and about. And don't drink and go deer hunting.
Yeah, just leave everything at camp, and even medications. I tell people, don't take medications that are going to make you drowsy. Benadryl or NyQuil or
know what the medications do to you.
Yeah.
If you know that
if it says not to operate machinery, then or vehicles or
machinery,
then a gun is a mechanical device.
Yeah.
So it's very important not to.
Kind of a little
not
bit
to
more.
impair yourself.
Be very dangerous out there. We don't want to make sure everybody has a safe hunting season. Like you said, you haven't had any reports of anything, which is great. We hope it goes that way all the way through January 15th.
Yeah.
Where nothing happens, but things can happen, and be cautious. Make sure that the target you're looking at is the target you're looking at.
Yeah.
Don't
identify your target as a deer.
Hey, that looked like a deer.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't shoot a movement, color, sound,
right?
Anything like that. That's why we had hunter safety come into play. There's just too many people coming back post World War II. In the I think early 50s when we started our hunter education program here in Missouri, and just saw a need for it because the number of accidents, people getting out there. Back in the day they didn't have hunter orange.
No,
a lot of people took a brown coat.
They wanted to camouflage. They wanted to blend in.
And so, we had a lot of accidents where people were being misidentified as game, and it's, still still happens. And then the tree stands, a lot of people used to build them out of homemade material, wood, and nailing them into the tree, and then those things rot. And we had a lot of we still have several accidents involving tree stands. So where your fall arrest system, use a manufactured stand that's been tested and has reading the weight limit and all the capacities of those stands, and then always use a safety rope and a fall arrest system. We get several individuals every year, even some fatalities, throughout the years that I've heard of. People fall out of tree stand, break their necks, or suffer broken legs or paralysis. So it happened. I mean, you don't think it's going to happen, but anytime you leave the ground, gravity is not going to be friendly to you if you fall. So.
Well, you're not anticipating on falling, so you're not going to be able to actually land the way you want.
And a lot of people, you get excited. You see that game animal, you lose, your focus sometimes. And I mean, you're up there 10, 15 feet above the ground, and it's easy.
You may have been up there 5 or 6 hours too.
Yeah, and it's easy to just trip or stumble, and then if you've got that fall arrest system, that safety harness on, we're talking full body harness. When they first came out, it was just a little belt that they wrapped around your waist, and we don't recommend that. But just so we want to see people wearing those, utilizing those, because it'll help save your life. So.
And you can buy those tree stands now anywhere from 5 feet up in the ground up to 18 feet. I saw 18 to 21 feet.
And most of them come with a fall arrest system now.
Right.
So.
But some of those actually have staircases to them. You can actually get a staircase. That's a tall tree stand. So guys, if you have those tree stands, obviously, first off, if it's on your property, no big deal. But if it doesn't have to be on your property and you want to go on a conservation property or in a state forest, you do have restrictions.
Yeah, MDC, and then also on the Mark Twain, the National Forest, we require your name and address to be labeled affixed to the stand, durable material, or your conservation number. So if you don't want to know, if you don't want people to know that
it's your stand,
that's your stand, but it has to be labeled durable material. Can't use anything that's going to damage the tree.
Right.
So, excuse me, no screw-in steps. Don't nail in. Don't be nailing braces or anything to the trees. It's got to be. You have to be able to remove it without damage to the tree. So, and then you can leave them up. I think you can put them up like September 1st and leave them up till January 31st. So,
very good.
So it's 2 weeks prior to the season, and then 2 weeks.
And if they don't have their name on it, or they leave it up past time, they can get a citation, can they not?
Yeah, and it can be
Or at a minimum, lose their stand.
Right.
Or at a minimum, lose your stand.
Yeah, and then, secure it. Not everybody's, out there as a sportsman, so some people are looking for opportunity to steal your property, so secure it the best you can and keep it. And then I just recommend people use it and check on it, and then they make a lot of the portable stands now that you can pack in each day and remove. That'd be the best way to be able to protect your property. But yeah, we get a lot of stands reported to us stolen and or they're misplaced.
Mm-hmm. Or they lost where they put it.
Forgot where they put it sometimes.
Well, I'd also like to add that for the Mark Twain National Forest, the state of Missouri, which we follow their regulations on that, the citizens here who hunt are very, very blessed in the fact that other places I've worked in the nation on national forest land, you have to pack your stand in and pack it out every day.
Yeah. So, and be very cautious. And as Jason was mentioning, don't put your carcass by the roads, guys. Don't, if you are going to, go ahead and take care of your meat right there, just don't leave it right at the edge of a road where, people are going to drive by. They're going to see it. We've mentioned this before. Just give animal rights activists all these
anti-hunters.
But also it brings other animals to the edge of the road that you may not want to be trying to drive up to. And we know we have all kinds of different wildlife out here.
It's a constant. I mean, no matter how much we talk about it, it seems like it's a constant a thing where, you know, we see that violation every year, just people dumping carcasses and, you know, right next to the county roads and the creeks. And, you know, it's an eyesore. It's, you know, it's litter. It wasn't meant to be dumped alongside the road. You know, take care of it, be responsible, because you're giving hunters and sportsmen a bad name. You know, not all hunters are sportsmen, so we know there's a few bad actors that, you know, can ruin it for the rest of the public who want to do things right. So
That's always the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a few bad apples that make new regulations because they don't comply. And then usually they still don't comply.
yeah,
And in the case of the Mark Twain, again, a lot of our interior ownership is in private property. So you're talking about people's neighborhoods, if you will. You know, no one wants to be going off to work and look over at the corner at the stop sign and here's a pile of deer carcasses. No one wants to see that.
Or the, you know, internal workings sitting right there by the road with children.
One thing I noticed, I went to Wisconsin it was in September, so not last month, but in September we did for the grouse relocation project, and we were on a lot of public land, county forest, and then state forest, and then I think I can't remember the name of the national forest up there, but it amazed me the difference between, you know, they had a lot of paper mills up there and a lot of logging, and so it was similar activity that, you know, timber harvest that goes on. But what amazed me is there was no trash along those roads, and there was I didn't see any dump sites. I traveled several hundred miles while I was up there, and it was amazing the difference in the attitudes toward the public lands. There's, you know, working with Tom and the Forest Service law enforcement officers over the years, we've had several dump sites we worked active, you know, put cameras up, caught people, and it just amazes me the public attitudes between the two states, you know, where up there, you don't see trash, beer cans, tires, or any debris along the roadways. They really respect their resources up there. So
They do. They have severe penalties, though, if they catch you. A lot more severe than Missouri does.
Yeah,
which makes
we're
a little
bit
difference.
behind.
Yeah, well, when it comes to leaving that out there, of course, you know, it all depends. You know, enforcement is the hardest thing. You know, until you catch somebody and you enforce it, it doesn't apply to me.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, that applies to all you other guys out there, but you know.
And I've done this for 10 years and no one's ever said a thing.
No,
You know,
that's right.
well,
Yeah.
it's
A lot,
still
and a
not
lot of
right.
times what you talk about is years ago, and you know, the family tradition. You always go to the same place, and this is what we've always done. No, and it never was a problem. Well, maybe maybe you shot the deer at a different location. Now you're gutting it. You're leaving things at a different spot than maybe you would normally do. So anyway, please be cognizant of the fact that there are other people using that road. There are other people walking that forest. There are other people that are out and about there. It's not just your national forest. It's everybody's national forest. It's everybody's conservation areas. It's everybody's trash. Has got no place anywhere. If you bring it in, take it out. Just make it easy. How hard is it to pack out the stuff you bring in? You know, if you bring in that much trash and you can't take it out, you shouldn't have brought in that much trash.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. But anyway, okay, so hunting season will start the 10th and go through the 20th.
Yep.
Then the
Then we
archery
have-
season comes back in, and you got some special hunts
Yeah,
coming
the late
up.
youth will be the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The actual date's 23rd, 24th, and 25th.
Thanksgiving weekend now. They've
Yeah.
changed that.
So that'll be our late youth portion.
Right?
And then I'd like to remind everybody we do not have the antlerless portion here in Denton County, even though
Right. You
there
don't
is an
read about
antlerless.
it. Yeah.
There is an antlerless portion that runs November 30th through December 2nd, but Denton County does not participate in that hunt. So every year we have deer checked in the antlerless portion. But remind everybody that we are not open for business
Yeah.
for the antlerless portion. So.
But we still have a special,
And then we have the
Special,
alternative methods. Later on in December, it's
usually around Christmas or so.
December 22nd through January 1st of 2019
There you
for
go.
this season. So
You can use your atlatl.
yeah, atlatls.
Get that deer.
I think that we've had a few. I think there's been two or three harvested over the.
Yeah. I remember when the first guy got one. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
he had
so-
a video of it. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that.
I haven't seen that one.
That was pretty interesting.
I'd imagine
I
you have
didn't
to
believe he hit him. He said it was the first time he ever tried it.
Wow.
I thought, you are a lucky dog, man. I'll tell you what. But anyway, yeah, you can do alternative methods, and you can read about all that, and it is a good time if you aren't up to date on what you need to do. Pick up. Obviously, you can go online.
Yeah, you can go online or use the app even, and the seasons now with the Mo Hunting app, it'll show you the seasons. If you haven't downloaded the app, you might if it's been a while since you've updated it. If it's not showing your current information, just delete it off your phone and then re-download it from the App Store or Google Play, and then it'll update. You'll get the newest version, and it should. The interesting thing about it now is I can pull it up now, and then if I've put in like any relatives or anybody else in my hunting party, I can click on switch user, and it'll pull up their names of your children or spouse or whatever, or others in your hunting party, so you can assist them with buying permits or
There you go.
or printing them out.
All right.
So you can do a lot of things from the app, but it has the new feature. It'll show you what seasons are open. It gives you a lot of different data now. So.
All right. Speaking of permits, you got to have a permit to
Yep.
go deer hunting. It's not just open to everybody.
Got to have that permit.
You got to have it with you.
And have it before you harvest your animal. We get a lot of people who will buy, say, an archery any deer permit, go out, harvest a doe, and then they're like, well, we'll just go buy our antlerless permit. I mean, that's not legal. Okay, you've got to have the permit
Before you get
when you harvest that deer. You've got to use what permit you have. You just can't go say, oh well, I'll just go get an antlerless and tag it on my antlerless. So have to have the permit in hand before harvesting or participating in the harvest.
and that permit needs to be with you.
And then make
Right.
sure, yes, you have to have a copy of it on the app. You can carry it electronically or have the physical paper printout. There's still a few of the vendors that are printing them out. So, or you can print them off at home. Print as many copies as you want. Stick them in your truck, your gear.
I highly recommend you put them in a waterproof.
Yeah, they're paper now. So
You
I mean,
know,
we had a really
something.
nice yellow permit back
Yeah.
in the day, waterproof, but things have changed. So
Get it laminated.
Yeah.
Put it into a little plastic sleeve or something.
and make sure you sign it.
and sign it.
And then when you buy your permit, you actually click on a little box that a disclaimer says you'll agree to comply with the rules and regulations set forth by the department. So, and
Is
then,
that what that box is?
and then read the fine print. It says
Yeah.
agents are able to check you. So
The reason I know a lot of hunters like to do the paper is they don't want to take their phone with them.
right,
They
yeah.
just don't want to have it with them. They
Yeah, a lot of
do
people
want to
don't
be
wanna
distracted. And
Drop it in the water if they're
Right.
fishing or
or if they
or
lose it, they don't remember where they were when they lost it. And
Right.
it's a hard thing to go back and try and retrace steps exactly where you were when you were out deer hunting. Ooh, unless you were just in one location, that might make it easier. But anyway, make sure you have that permit with you in case
Yep.
you just happen to run across an agent. They're out there.
And then we get questions every year. Do I need a permit if I'm going to go out and call for somebody, or if I'm going to go out and rattle? Yeah, you do need a permit if you're going to participate in any part of the hunt. So that means calling game, tracking game, assisting with pulling game out of the woods. So if you're participating in any part of the hunt, if you're just going to video and you're not going to be, assisting with tracking or calling or any type of locating game for somebody, then just somebody videoing doesn't need it, or just somebody there to observe
Right.
doesn't need a permit. You can't carry a firearm or any type of equipment
Right.
used in the harvest. So
Right. Very good.
we get that question quite a bit every year. So
Right. Very good. Okay. Deer hunting season right around the corner.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to
And
be
then
here.
I'll
You
touch
got
on the
more.
just on the our harvest for Dent County for the youth. They killed 120 antlered bucks.
We're back to the youth hunt again.
Yeah,
Ooh,
20,
it's over
24
that.
budding bucks,
Yes.
49 does, and our total was 193. So
Yeah.
the high county was 350. So
Right.
we're a little bit just
But
over half.
we were above Phelps, Crawford,
Yeah.
not above Texas. Texas at 241, I believe, something
Yeah,
like
the-
that. But
Bigger area.
But it's a bigger area. But Dent County continues to have a high harvest of deer. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
for our size county. So keep up the good work. We need to
Yeah.
eliminate some of these deer. They're getting really thick this year. So
But do it legally and
but do it legally, yeah.
ethically.
Yeah,
You know,
we don't want anybody
fair chase. That's why that's why we have rules established. So we don't want everybody
and that and for safety reasons.
and safety.
Yeah,
Yep,
absolutely.
public safety.
Okay, I know we got a couple other things we want to talk about. Number one, real quick, we did have down at outside Peck Ranch, we had an elk that was
Yeah, the elk
killed.
calf.
Yeah, the elk calf that was killed. Has there been any further update on that?
They're just asking for information.
Still have no more information.
That's all I know
Yeah.
at this time. So,
I didn't know if they got any leads or anything that they've been able to follow up on. Or
yeah,
not.
but yeah, they're just asking for information, and they put that out. Was it last week or
about
week?
9 days ago.
Yeah,
I
a week and a
think,
half.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, just
So
asking
that-
for information on.
I hadn't gotten any word. I hadn't seen it on the MDC site, and I went on there yesterday and didn't have an update on it.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe you guys had heard something more. So
No, I haven't. So we're still at that stage of the process.
investigation of
Mhm.
it. So anyway, if you know anything about that, you're welcome to call MDC, let them know. And there's also another number, and there's also a game thief number
Mm-hmm.
you can contact.
Yep.
And what is that number, Jason?
1-800-392-1111.
Yeah, pretty sharp.
Yeah.
Can't get sneak nothing past him. All right, very
And
good.
that's for any violation that you encounter during any seasons or even closed season. Call it. It'll be answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So.
All right. How about our fishing? What's going on with Montauk now?
Well, we're going to be starting our catch and release. I don't know the exact date. It'll be the
It's usually
Second weekend,
2
yeah.
weeks into
Yeah.
the second weekend.
second weekend in November.
So
and
that'll
it'll
be
run
the
to-
same time as deer season.
Yeah, pretty close. So that'll run up to February. So.
Yeah. But it's
And
catch
then-
and release.
Mhm.
There are limits on catch and release, aren't there?
Yeah, I mean, you got
It's
to.
kind of in the name, right?
Yeah, there's only a certain portion of the park open, so look for the signs, and it'll give you the exact zone, and then. But yeah, the times, I think it's 8 to 4 daily,
Mhm.
so or
Saturday.
3 days. It's Friday, Saturdays,
There
and
you
Sundays.
go.
So
Almost
and then-
caught him, Tom.
Yeah.
Almost had him.
But Merrimack Spring, they're open quite a few more days if you want to.
Well, yeah, but that's a private.
Right.
You have
So-
to pay to get in there
Yep.
and fish. Yeah, you got a carload. Got to pay by the carload to get in.
And then
So-
we had a few patrols this weekend. We had a spotlight patrol in Marys County, and then in the Ozark region we had a airplane patrol. The Marys County patrol, Dave Ingram and I were sitting on an access, so gigging. We were watching some gigging boats going up and down the river from our location, and then we're able to check. One group was in compliance, had all their permits, had all legal fish. The second group, they had all their permits, but they didn't follow the regulation on gigging game fish. So they had one game fish in the boat, and individual received a citation. So, and then the patrol in the southern part of the Ozark region, it was Texas Howell, Douglas County. Had officers set up in locations, and then the airplane was up, and then one of our officers made a case in Howell County for spotlighting. So I caught a group spotlighting, and we had a couple other reports that we were trying to get to, but wasn't active. Also, that same Friday night, I guess, the Crawford County agents made a case. The individuals were stuck in a landowner's field, had already killed 2 deer, and were out looking to shoot a third or fourth. So they were already had already killed 2 deer illegally. So and still looking for more. So
And
they were
stuck
and they were
on
stuck.
private
So
property.
the landowner was able to get a hold of the agents, and the agents got there before their help arrived. So took care of them.
I'll bet you that's going to cost them a few bucks.
Yeah, it'll be just a few.
and no license privileges for quite a while. I would
it'll
assume.
be.
Yeah, maybe revoked. you
Yeah.
know.
So.
And so anyway, very good. All right. Anything else?
And
you
then
wanna-
I just want to mention that deer season starts on November 10th, but if you're out there and you see a fur bear like a bobcat or a fox, that season does not start until November 15th. if you're hunting on public property, landowners can hunt small game without a permit on their property they own. But if you're out on somebody else's property or on public lands, you need your small game hunting permit if you're going to take them with firearms or archery. The season starts November 15th. Trapping also starts. And then if you want to delve into some more on our trapping, what our outlook, our forecast, there's a Fur Bearer Program Annual Report 2018 annual report on our website. Has some pretty good information, gives you fur harvest comparisons for like the 25, I think it goes back 25 years, and you can see which species and how many pelts and what the population's kind of done, the fur market prices, and then just some the highlights from it. We've had 3,000 black bear reports since 1992. Our 3,000th report came in last November. I guess this past January 20th, 2018, we had a gray wolf killed by a vehicle on Interstate 70 in Montgomery County, and then that was our 6th recorded gray wolf in Missouri. So that's some of the information you can get from this. Talks about mountain lion conformations. We detected a mountain lion in April of 2018, and then it was a mountain lion we detected earlier, but the way we got him was we captured his genetics as far as in his feces, and had to track, and then I think it was off an elk carcass actually where they captured the sample the second time, but they'd already documented that mountain lion in Missouri. So, and then it'll give you the 2017-2018 bobcat and otter harvest. We had a higher harvest last year than the previous 2 seasons based on our pelt registrations. So,
very good.
Even though you may think not very many people are pursuing those species, you can get on there and see which counties have harvested how many, the number by hunting, the number by trapping. So,
yeah,
just
most people just don't run across a trap in their backyard.
Right.
You know, so they don't think. Oh,
but we still have several guys that get out there and trap, and then market price kind of drives, the pelt prices and the fur market. The number of actual fur dealers has kind of declined.
It's gone down, but
I think historically, like back in the 40s, we had over 1,000 and then now we're down to.
Well, back in the 1880s, the
Right.
whole riverfront of St. Louis had furriers.
Oh yeah,
so
it was unregulated.
but and even farther up north though, you still have a lot of people that they still use those pelts quite actively. So definitely want to make sure about that. The only thing I was going to ask, and I don't know if there's anything scheduled, and I haven't looked on the MDC site. Obviously, number one, we were talking about fall colors here for quite a while. There's still updates on those on the MDC website. If you still want to know where some color is, we've kind of gone through our color phase now, but now I think that Halloween is hitting the rains.
Yeah,
Pretty well
going to
it's not going to last much longer. Right. But some beautiful oranges and yellows finally got to Denton County here in the last week. So if you didn't see them and now they're on the ground, it's too late. But did want to point out, don't know if we're going to have one, but we've had burn workshops before, and in the area, and I don't know if I haven't seen it or any of your schedule. Do you know of any?
I haven't talked to Cody Roberts. He usually has those in January.
I know, but I have not seen anything.
I haven't seen
listed.
Cody in a while, and then I haven't seen anything scheduled. So, but I'll find out and then bring that information next time.
And we want to remind everybody, we don't usually talk about this, but the George O. White Nursery, you can order your seedlings right now as well.
Right.
Yeah. That's going to be going on all the way up until February.
And then there are certain species they run out of. So
fast.
If you're like black walnut's a very popular one.
Yeah. So you can get out of the Missouri Conservation. I believe it's in the September issue this year, and you might get out there. You can go on the MDC website. And you can. I don't know if they still have some of the UNCRC. I know they used to, but I don't know if they still do.
Yeah.
Or you get to your office, you guys can get them. But or you can just call a nursery and they can send it to you in the mail, and you can pick out which ones you want. You got time.
Yeah.
They're very inexpensive.
I think they start delivering in March, I believe.
March or February. March, yeah. But they stopped taking orders in February. So But I'd order it now because, as Jason was saying, there's some that are super popular. They run out of those seedlings in a hurry.
Yep.
You know, and then you can, and if you put in for a certain seedling and they don't have it, they will let you know, and then you can choose an alternative seedling or just not get that one. You know, so think about it. They may even give you a recommendation. You could use this seedling instead of that one.
Right.
So they're pretty good about it. So you can talk to your old buddy Mike Fione.
Yeah, and the other thing is what we do a lot is one person will order, they'll go in together.
Mm-hmm.
And because, when you're dealing with, a lot of seedlings, what do you do with it if you have a small place? Well, share it with your friends and family.
Right. And you can get them in 10s, 25s. I think 75 is the biggest one you can get, maybe 100. But you can get those. They're very inexpensive. Do remember, if you have a conservation ID card, you can get a 15% discount.
Yeah, save you a little bit of money.
Yeah. So, hey, nothing wrong with saving money. Anyway, that's it's always a good thing to remind people about that. We probably don't talk about that very often.
No.
But those seedlings are available right now. So go ahead and, well, you won't get them right now, but you can order them right now and be secure in your order when they ship them out next year.
Yeah,
Okay?
they'll give you pointers on where to plant them, how
Right.
to plant them, if that species will do well here.
But
in the Ozarks.
get the description of those seedlings, because some of those are very little water trees and some are high water trees. So know where you're going to plant it. If you're going to put one that's a high water tree up on the top of a hill, chances are it may not survive.
Right.
Unless you
And
got
it'll
a
give you
spring
a
right
canopy
underneath it.
description on what type of canopy to expect and the height
exactly.
and all that good
Yep.
stuff.
So not to plant them under power lines
Yeah,
Or too close to your home.
or too close to your home,
right.
where they start overlapping your home and dropping 5 tree leaves.
Or
Which is
getting-
always fun.
Getting into your sewer lines and
And
all
sewer
that
lines
stuff.
and gutters and up against your foundation, which then dry, and the next thing you know, you've got a fire problem.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Thanks, buddy.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it very much. Tom, you still here?
Yes.
You hadn't asked a question in 30 minutes.
Sorry about that.
I
It's just that his information was so great, and I got my
He
attention.
had a lot of information, and,
Yeah.
and this is that time of year that we really concentrate on our hunting seasons. But, one of the nice things is you already kind of pointed out, in the National Forest, people are allowed to hunt. This is legal in Missouri. And, of course, too, you mentioned before, you can put a tree stand up
Yes.
and leave it.
Yes, because all fish and game is controlled by the state of Missouri, Missouri Department of Conservation, and we follow their rules and regulations. They permit tree stands to be put up 2 weeks prior and left up to 2 weeks after, and the Mark Twain follows suit with that. Like I said, another national forest across the nation, you got to pack those things in every day and pack them out every evening. And those are the rules of the game. I don't make them up, But yes, you are as long as you're legal within the state of Missouri, you are welcome to hunt on the Mark Twain National Forest. If I were to come out there, let's say it's mid-June, I hear a gunshot go off, I spin around just in time to see you loading that deer in the back of your truck, smoke still coming out of your rifle, all I can give you a ticket for is not being legal in the state of Missouri. Then I'll call Jason. Jason, I got somebody that you want to talk with.
And he's going, oh boy, oh boy.
Yes,
oh boy.
he's going to get your rifle, he's going to get your deer, he's going to get your gun, and the whole nine
Maybe
yards.
even the truck.
Yeah, so
It's possible, yes.
we follow and we work very, very closely with them, and I'm glad we do. There are occasions where we had people illegally cutting what we call wood products. It was witch hazel. What happened is they were also digging ginseng. This is several years back. When the state of Missouri, you can't dig ginseng. So when the state of Missouri got finished with them for the ginseng, they called us up, said, hi, we got somebody for you to talk with. And we came down and we got them for the witch hazel because there are no permits issued to cut witch hazel. And that's one of these magical herbs that people love to go and cut. And we had one guy, his argument was, well, I'm a Native American and this is for my personal use. It was a pickup truck load. Personal use?
He uses a lot.
Yeah, no, it was for sale, and you got a nice fat ticket for that, you know. So, And we work very closely with MDC because there's a lot, there's 1.5 million acres on the Mark Twain National Forest.
It's a big place.
It's a very, very large place. Yeah. But of course, that's 1.5 million acres for people to come out and enjoy their visit and to enjoy their legal hunt and to share their time with their family. And that's what it's all about.
And we do talk a lot about enforcement and things, and we talk about a lot about rules and stuff, but we have beautiful conservation areas in Dent County and all throughout the state of Missouri that, people can go and enjoy, and they should. They really need to take advantage of that. And we have a number of them here in Dent County, and I hope people do take advantage of it. Also, our national forest, there's so much to learn. If kids would get out there and just get back outside, there's something about being outside when you're young, because it's all new. You've never seen it before. It really does make an impact on you. So get out there. Now, one of the things we do remind people, and we do remind this because we're at that time of year again, Tom, that cell service in our national forest is not a guarantee. Don't just go out there and assume that, well, I'm gonna take a walk back there, and I know it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but I know I'll be back by 6. Yeah, okay.
Right.
You don't get back by 6. It's dark. You know how dark it is in the forest? It's
this
dark.
This time of the year, yes.
It's dark.
And another thing that I've noticed is the cell coverage has changed over time. I used to be able to go to the bank and bunker, and I could get a signal to call out. I can't go there. I don't know what has gone on, but I cannot get a signal out of that bank's parking lot anymore, out of bunker. And that's a community. And you're absolutely right.
I can tell you why you can't get it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because you use a digital phone. If you had an analog phone, you could still get it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, because the digital signals aren't strong enough to get that far. Yet the analog signals. So if you had an old flip phone, a Generation 3 phone, you'd still be able to get a signal.
Oh, okay.
But it would it never was a strong signal there.
No.
But you would be able to get a signal. When you use your phone there, it just spins. It's just looking.
Yeah.
You'll never find it.
But when you do come to the National Forest, you are absolutely correct. Do not depend on, I can just call out. No. I mean, there are many times I'll drive across the National Forest and all of a sudden my phone will go ping, and for that second, there was a signal, and then it's gone.
Yep.
Years ago when we lost that gentleman and his 2 sons, they tried triangulating the signals. Couldn't do it. It's one of the pleasures, and it's one of the downsides of living in rural America. Right. The pleasures are maybe you don't want to be gotten a hold of and you want to enjoy just camping out in the woods.
True.
You got it. But the other side is if there's an emergency, don't depend on your phone to get out. Let people know where you're going, when you plan to be back. We try working with the counties to help them in case of, in fact, they 2 weeks ago had someone lost at Bell Mountain, and they did have a phone signal. And the answer they got back was, it's really, really late in the evening. I think it was like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. We will come and get you in the morning. And fortunately for them, the weather was on their side. It wasn't a very cold evening. They had enough equipment to make it through till the morning. There was no medical issue. They were just lost.
Right.
But it did happen. And they were lucky. They had a phone signal.
Yeah. So anyway, what we do want to remind everybody, though, is your National Forest is a great place to go. But do know there are limitations. And also, you can pick up all the downed lumber you want, all that timber that's out there, make your own little fire.
Own little campfire.
But do make sure you clear everything away. If you have a whole bunch of leaves falling right where you plan on building your fire and they're all falling and blowing, please don't build your fire there. That just doesn't make any sense because that fire's not going to stay there.
No.
It's going to grow.
You're right. I've asked Kevin, our fire management officer, if he could come down today, but he's tied up with something because we are planning some prescribed burns, and his last statement was it's not going to happen real soon because the weather's not in our favor. But with leaves, they can dry out in a heartbeat. And you're right. If leaves are falling around where you want to build your campfire, be cognizant of that. Keep them cleaned away. Several years ago, we had a hunter who was hunting, did his campfire spot just right, built himself a fire, decided he wanted to go scouting, and the winds changed. He lost his camper. his campsite, got a ticket on top of it. You know, it was bad news. You know, never leave a campfire unattended. Never turn your back on a fire.
You just, they're too unpredictable, and Missouri's too unpredictable when it comes to winds and rain. And I look at today, I mean, it's very, very moist, and you're thinking, man, this saturating rain, I can get out there and I can do anything I want. It won't take long for that all to dry back out.
Right.
So be very, very cognizant of the fact. And if we have that 20-mile-an-hour wind coming out of the north, that'll dry it out even quicker.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to make sure we be very cautious out there. Tom, I wanted to bring up, a lot of people like to get firewood this time of year. Permits are available.
Yes, they are.
Okay, at your office.
Yes, they are. We're located right across the street from the Crossroads Inn, 1301 South Main, open from 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. For personal use, it's $20 for 4 cords, and I like to remind people that cords do not equate to rank.
Cords actually have a specific size. to them.
Yes, rank do not.
Rank does not.
You know, and the reason we stress that to people is we find a lot of people were told 2 rank make a cord. They're cutting their wood at 16 inches. I got news for you. You just cheated yourself. You bought more wood than you thought. So, you know, and we have the measurements at the office. We'll be glad to give them to you. And we can set you up, you know, basically any dead and down material within 100 foot of a Forest Service road or Forest Service land. You know, you're welcome to cut your firewood and take it home. If you're coming out camping, like you said, there's no permit needed. Cut your dead and down wood, enjoy your campfire, roast your marshmallows, make your s'mores, tell those good old stories that
Heat
your
up the coffee,
yeah,
hot
that your
chocolate,
parents
you
told
bet.
you. But now, if you want to load that wood up in your trailer and take it home, now we need a permit.
So, yeah, be cautious. But a lot of people do like to get their firewood cut out of the national forest because it usually burns very well. You know, that's one of the nice things. It's had time to age properly and dry out a little bit. So, if you want that permit, 8 to 4:30, stop on by the office and get that permit cited. 4 cords is a lot of wood.
Yes, it is. I don't even burn that much a year. And a lot of people make firewood cutting a family event. You know, they take a picnic out there. It's good weather sometimes in the fall, you know, and it's a family event. And like you're saying, just getting people out into the forest to enjoy Mother Nature.
No, commercial permits. For
Commercial permits. Those are typically assigned to a specific area. Typically, there are closed timber sales.
Okay.
It's $50 for 50 cord.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of
That's
wood.
a lot of wood. That's
We
$1
had-
a cord. That's not a bad deal.
We had one gentleman come in. He goes, "Well, I don't quite need that much," but he wanted like 8 cords or something like that. And I'm looking at him going, for the price difference, why don't you just go ahead, get the commercial, and then you can also cut some for the widow lady that's at church. You know what I mean?
There you go.
He says, "Oh, good idea." So, you know, yeah, we can help you out there, but those sometimes will get limited because if we don't have closed timber sales for you to go into, because they're still active, then we can't sell you because we're still under contract with the loggers. But yeah, we do have commercial sales too.
So they could call your office to find out if that's
Yes,
available.
yes, they can.
Okay, very good. And your number is?
Area code 573-729-6656.
Let's talk a little bit about our concessionaires. Obviously, we're getting to the end of the season.
Yes,
Tom.
upcoming weekend is the last weekend for Steve Hampton and his wife down at Sutton's Bluff. They'll be closing down Sunday. If you are going down, I would like to remind you that Reynolds County is working on the paved road that goes down to the campground. You can get by. They have not totally blocked off the road, but there is construction going on, so be aware of that. But this weekend is the last weekend for Sutton's Bluff. Loggers Lake is already closed.
Right.
But if
Which
you,
doesn't mean you can't go there.
Exactly. I was going to say that if you want to go there, park outside the gate, walk in, and enjoy fishing, you're more than welcome to. You know, the fish are stocked by MDC. You know, again, another partnership with them, and they help us maintain the milfoil that's down there too.
That's my next question. Are we going to do that this year?
Yes, we will. Come December, we'll be drawing the lake down again. Is again working in concert with Missouri Department of Conservation.
So how was the milfoil this year? Early on, it would look like it was in pretty good control.
That's what I've seen. Each time I've been down there, it looked good, but I got a report that it had increased this year. The past 2 years, we have started using herbicide, but MDC still recommends that we do the drawdown each winter. And so we will be drawing it down again this winter.
Okay.
And that is one really, really invasive weed. And
it just it's no fun to go out on that water when the
No.
milfoil is that thick. I mean, it's just no fun.
yeah, there was one year, like you're talking about, you couldn't even cast a fish line into it. It was so bad. But with the drawdowns and the addition of MDC coming in with the herbicides, we're getting a handle on that.
Very good.
We'll probably never get rid of it, but we're getting a handle on it.
1 year, pretty much, and I can't remember the time when we drew it down. We had that big frost, and I mean, it was cold, and that 1 year, it hardly had any. And I was
Yeah.
hoping that, maybe it had died, but, milfoil can be carried by birds and drop back in there, and who
Well,
knows?
and the thing about Loggers Lake, it's a very unique setting because its drainage area is twice what's normally sought for to make a man-made lake. Usually I'm making the numbers up now because I'm not a hydrologist and I really can't remember. It's something like 2 acres of land for 1 acre of lake. Well, we're like 4 acres of land for 1 acre of lake. And then it's also spring fed.
Right.
So even though it may have been dry for the last 2 or 3 months, water is still being pumped into that lake.
Yeah.
And our old hydrologist, he once told me the problem is that the water is so clear, the sunlight can travel deeper,
True.
which helps the milfoil.
Yeah, true. Helps that growth underneath
Yeah.
the water. Okay, very good. So Sutton's Bluff will be concessionaires no longer there after this weekend, so then will be until the spring. We'll see them come back.
Our ATV trail system will still be open and operating. We have 3 trails that are closed. I believe it's 12, 7, and I want to say 3. Permits can be purchased at our office, again on 1301 South Main during business hours, or at the 911 Center in Reynolds County, where you can also get their county permit too.
And you do know now that Dent County has an annual county
Yes,
permit.
I learned that last month. Thank you very much. Yeah, so, for the public, if you have a Dent County permit and you want to go down to Sutton's Bluff, you also have to purchase the Reynolds County permit. The counties have not gotten together to mutually honor each other's permit. Maybe someday they will, but again, that's a state issue, a county issue. That has nothing to do with us. If we catch you out there, your ticket will be written for not being legal in the state of Missouri.
There you go.
So,
There you go. All right, very good. One other thing we were on the concessionaires part, and I wanted to ask, we're still looking for a concessionaire for Loggers Lake,
I believe
or are we not?
we are not. If someone thinks, I would say, if someone thinks they would like to be a concessionaire, do contact us. You can call my office. My office, area code 573-729-6656. I'll get you in touch with Mr. Chris Woods, and we can walk you through that process to see if there's something that you really want to entertain. But right now, we're kind of at the point where we're just going to go back to
The old way?
the old way of campground host.
Okay. All right, very good. How about Red Bluff and all those? We got our concessionaires all in line there still?
Yeah, we do. And again, Mr. Chris Woods would be the contact person for that.
I'm just,
yeah.
because there are other areas
Oh,
that concessionaires are available. if
Not
somebody
only
wants to
just
get-
here on the Mark Twain, but across the nation. And the same thing for campground host. When I first came on with the agency back in the 80s, we would get campground hosts. They're basically, they live in their campers year-round. They go down to Arizona, New Mexico during the winter. Hey, Mama, where do you want to go to this upcoming year? Well, gee, I've never seen Colorado. I've never seen Idaho. Call up the Forest Service. You looking for a campground host? Yes, we are. What kind of amenities are you offering? On the San Juans where I worked, we would say, well, we would offer you your gas up here and $10 a day stipend. Fine, you got a deal. We'll be there. Now, they had to pay for the gas back, okay?
Oh, you guys are ruthless.
Oh yeah, we are. But that's how we did it, And it may come with duties like cleaning the bathrooms, cleaning the
well,
fire
sure.
rings, and things like that. But that type of opportunity is available across the nation, So if you are retired and you have the time and you enjoy working with people and enjoy the outdoors, being a campground host may be something that's of interest to you.
Very good. Or take that RV down there with you. Live in luxury, right?
Oh, yes, and that's what they do.
They do.
They really enjoy that retired lifestyle. And
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And getting away from it all, right?
yeah,
Sometimes that's not a bad thing.
no.
It's not a bad thing. All right. Can't think of anything. Do you have some maps there?
Well, I had some maps of our prescribed burn areas.
Okay.
We've got those all lined out. Again, if you're curious if we're going to be burning around your property, come into the office. We'll be glad to share this map with you and put you on our list of need to call, like you're on the list of need to call when we're going to do a prescribed fire. And again, sometimes it's down to the hour. We
Sure.
may think we're going to burn something and the winds aren't right and we change our minds. So letting us know that maybe you've got health issues. The last thing in the world we want to do is smoke one of our neighbors out.
Right.
You know, if we can give you a heads up to it, maybe that's the day to go visit the grandchildren.
All right.
You know, so something like that. The other thing that I wanted to talk to people about is our next planning area, which we're calling Stone Hill, which is basically sandwiched between Marcoot Tower Road, which is the Indian Trails Road, not the Indian Trails Road, but the Hildebrand route of the Trail of Tears,
say.
and Highway 7232 from B going east all the way over to, forgot the name of that drainage already. See if I can read it in the slide here. No, I cannot. But just past Hoozall Ponds, okay? That is our next planning area. If you are one of our neighbors, we'll be contacting you about some ideas that we're thinking about doing there. Right now, we're just doing timber inventory to see the health of the forest, what it's like. We have nothing specifically planned right now. It's the beginning stages, but be aware that that's our next planning area.
All right. Very good. I don't have anything else.
I don't have anything else, but if you do have any questions, again, call the office, area code 573-729-6656, or go online, Mark Twain National Forest, and visit the website. And I got turned on to our Facebook account for the Mark Twain National Forest. Very interesting. Cody does a very good job with that, so that's another area where you can find information about your national forest.
There you go. Very good. Anything left, Jason?
Well, Tom, you guys kind of touched on it with the cell phone service. I just recommend people leave a hunt plan, where you're going to be camping, where your stands are, who you're going to be hunting with. We've had a few search and rescues over the years, coon hunting, people get lost at night. So just, let somebody know where you're going to be, where your stands are located, which one you're going to be hunting out of, and then who's going to be with you in your hunting party when you're starting, and then when you expect to be returning from the hunt. So
Those woods look really different at night.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we get
Yeah,
a lot
that
of calls.
trail that's easy to see during the day, not so easy to see at night. Easy to make a run.
I think last year I had to go look for two guys lost out at Indian Trail. So they weren't very far off the road, but it just
Still,
they were walking a circle just because everything looked the
you
same.
don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
Well, for gentlemen, thank you for coming in. Appreciate spending the time with us. I don't want to see you again more than likely before Thanksgiving, so have a happy Thanksgiving and a safe hunting season. And
Thank you.
until we meet again in December, thanks for coming in, and it's our friends at the Conservation Department Forest Service, Jason and Tom today, and guys, have a good one.
You too. Thank you.